Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. We are here for another reading. This is our mid-week reading. Putting this up on Wednesday. So how are you guys doing? How have we been doing since the first reading, the beginning of the week? Have we been integrating the ideas of our perfect life into our everyday and kind of looking past the imperfections? That was kind of the gist of the last reading, just putting thought into action and purposefully looking past the way that it doesn't align with the vision that you had to begin with and finding power in that. So now we're just going to do a quick little reading of where we go from here. We're going to start with what we did in the last one with a quick little 3-card past, present, future spread. And this one wanted to jump out. Then we'll go from there. We'll probably do a couple clarifying cards and then call it a day. I don't want to keep you guys too long. So that was the one for the past jumping out. Present. Future, and this card's also jumping out. I don't know if you guys can see that when I'm like shuffling them, but I can. I'm getting a vibe to kind of like mess these up a little bit. I was getting more of a feeling that the one I first pulled, I put it as past because that's normally the order, but I was getting called to feel that that was more the present card and to switch the present and the past. And then the last little card that jumped out is going to be kind of our first clarifying card. So let's start with the past. Alright, so here we have the 6 of Pentacles, and it's kind of redistributing this idea of wealth. It has this idea to do with, I don't know if that's totally focusing. There we go. And I knocked over one of my crystals while doing that. Remind me to be careful, guys, because one of these days I'm going to put a tarot card up and it's just going to like light on fire with the candle. So we have this idea of redistributing wealth. What does that mean? It has to do with balance. It has to do with shifting. How are you moving your finances? How are you handling your finances? How are you handling the idea of what your finances can do for you? We often talk about earth cards with just being like the concrete and the material, but there's also this kind of like vague notion that money is energy, and to an extent that is true. It's not the whole picture. There definitely is a very physical element to money, but this can kind of have to do with perception and how we are perceiving ourselves. I don't think too many people would look at themselves and see this kind of like rich giving to the poor. I think a lot of people these days going through hard times see themselves as kind of like needing more to create their financial needs, meet those, surpass those. But it also kind of depends on the day. Like sometimes you're having a really good day, you have spent some money, maybe you've donated money to somewhere. So it kind of has to do with how we've looked at the way that our finances are impacting our life and our own perception of kind of how we identify with the amount of resources we have. Are we scarce? Are we abundant? And this actually goes really well with last week's reading, having to do with transgressing your own life into the perceived life that you want, regardless of what those imperfections look like. This is kind of a harken back to do that in a very physical way. It's an earth card. It's what are we doing? What is this kind of, not really action, because a lot of that has to do with fire, but what are the tangible results of what you're doing? So take with what we learned from the last reading and just kind of reflect on that for a minute and see, how did we learn from this? How did we enact this? That's a good word for this card. What are we enacting change? This is the shifting of finances. This is moving of money from one hand to another. What is that looking like for you? I'm glad I shifted that. I think I was right to move that to the past card before taking a look at it, because I think that had a really good summation of what our kind of lesson was for the last week's reading. So now we have the present one. Ooh, the Tower. I do personal readings for myself pretty regularly. A lot of times I'll do like a single card spread. And I haven't gotten I haven't been getting a lot of really strong why am I blanking on the word? I haven't gotten a lot of those really strong like base, like, change cards, the Tower card, the Death card, kind of those, like, major arcana cards is the word that I was just blanking on. I haven't gotten a lot of these really strong major arcana cards recently, but I guess that makes sense because I'm reading for you guys. I guess also myself. It's kind of a collective reading, but it's not just for myself. So I think this will be good in terms of moving past the change you've enacted. This is kind of what we're hoping to do. This is kind of taking the shovel and breaking up the earth and then seeing what you have going from there. It's the manifestation of that change in a very physical way, but because it is a major arcana, it kind of affects all the areas of your life, all the different elements of your life. So it's the air, the water, the earth, and the fire. How is this impacting your thoughts, your motivations? How is this changing how you feel about your situation? And how is it changing the very physical reality of what you're doing? Because that's what we're starting in the physical, and then we're allowing that to transcend, as shown with the Tower card, into all elements of your life. We're letting it change. We're letting it mix up. We want this to be kind of the current state you're at. So if you're feeling a little disheveled, if you're feeling discombobulated, if you're feeling like you've started enacting these changes and now you're not really sure where to go with that, I think that's a good thing. I think this is where you want to be, because if you're looking for change, you can't not be in a position where things are beginning to change, and that's what this card is enacting. It's things are shifting, things are breaking, and it ties in really well with the unexpected putting these things into your life and not allowing them to be perfect. This is that imperfection. This is what's telling you, okay, things aren't right. It's creating, I don't want to see these problems, but here are the new obstacles. Maybe you join the class that you never thought you would because like you didn't see yourself as an artist, but now you're in this drawing class and now you have to worry about these things like, oh, like what materials am I going to use? What do I want to focus on? What do I enjoy doing? It's these new problems cropping up, but they're not problems, they're challenges. And because you've been choosing things in a way that aligns with the life you wanted to create, it's more than likely that you're excited to face these challenges head on and you're excited to be able to work through them. So I see the Tower card as a very good thing in this scenario. It's showing progress, it's showing change. Now for the future. Here we go. We have a Two of Cups. We're aligning. I think that'll lead us really good into a positive next step in terms of where we should be going with our life from here. We're connecting. We've changed our flow of resources. We've allowed it to impact our life. And now the goal is to connect with those around us who are kind of at, it's not necessarily a higher vibration, but it's a closer alignment to the life you want to live. So maybe you're meeting people in the class you wanted to join. Maybe you started watching YouTube videos about things that you're more interested in and you're interacting with people in the comments. This is kind of how you begin to solidify those bonds, as opposed to it just being this like personal project you want. You're really allowed to bring other people into it. I know a lot of people have problems making friends once you're outside of school, but a really good way to do that is to join hobbies and participate in things that you are interested in, even if it's just, like I said, listening to a YouTube video or joining a Reddit community or something like that, really basic, that won't require a lot of time, and just getting the quick time to like chat with people in the comments, learn from them, read what they're saying, even if you don't want to reply. I think it eventually will be good for you to reply, but really allow this kind of we start with the earth and we're moving into the water, and we just kind of have this like opposite balancing act of like, here's how you change the physical, and then it disperses into all areas of your life, and then it's balancing out in the opposite, your emotions. What are you feeling about the way, how are you reacting, I guess, would be a good way. How are you emotionally reacting to the changes you've made in your life, and allowing these connections to be formed, because these connections are where you find community, and that's where you really harbor a true strength in your identity, and where you really begin to create some solid foundations. Because if you join a class or if you do something like a hobby, even if it's something you like, it can still sometimes be really hard to get yourself to like get up and do it. But when you have these communities, these people, that's where you really find the strength to be going forward. Alright, so we have these three cards. I think that's a pretty solid basis for where we're starting out, where we've been, where we are now, where we're hoping to look forward. I hope that's some pretty stable advice. Then I have this one last card that kind of jumped out, and I want this to be kind of like our clarifying card that just ties things together. Like, how are we going to conceptualize this reading as a whole? Ooh. Guys, we did it. Didn't I talk about the death card a little bit ago? It jumped out. I haven't pulled this card in months, and now in this reading we're pulling the Tower and the Death card. But notice how I'm like smiling, because it's good, because it means there's change coming. There's things shifting. I'm not getting a negative reading off this card, even if it will become attached to this kind of like negative outcomes. Like I said, maybe you're stressed about like trying to buy your art supplies now, or maybe it is something negative. Maybe there are people in your life who didn't expect you or don't think you should be allowed to deserve these things in the life that you want to live, and they're saying, oh, like, you don't have, like, you shouldn't be doing this, you should be doing something more practical, more I don't know, more sound. But like, it's kind of like, this is the life you're living now, and you can't always make every decision that's just going to make you feel good. But like, your life now should be a life worth living. You shouldn't just be putting everything off into the future. So this Death card is really this is what you need to focus on if you're looking to embody the spirit of this reading. What is being put to the side? What is being killed? What is being transmuted into the future? Because this is that permanent change. This is what you're looking to enact. This is post the Tower card. This is post building community. This is that permanent change of, once you've begun to do this, you are not going back. You are not stepping back on your rules. You are not kind of shifting your boundaries around to fit with the people in your life that think like you should be living smaller. You shouldn't be doing these things that make you happy. You shouldn't be trying to learn in ways that you can. This is enacting change that you cannot go back on. Even if 5 years from now you look at it and say like, well, I joined that art class for a week, but it didn't really end up working out, and I didn't find the community, and that's fine. But it started this journey of changing how you think, and changing how you're looking for those communities, and changing how you feel in relation to like your current life and yourself. So it's the beginning of something. It's also the end of something, but as we had kind of been saying with this whole reading, it's the end of things that need to go. It's their time to go. They need to be banished. They need to be put to the side. Light a candle for it. Spend some time in meditation, really just thinking about what are you not... I feel like death seems like kind of a harsh word for this, but what are you putting to rest? What are the things in your life that are not serving you, that need to be put aside, put to rest, never to be integrated back into your life again? Maybe you can go back and look at it, you can reflect on it, but it doesn't need to be, once it's been consumed by the Death card, it does not need to be brought back to life, because I think that would just be too much. That's too much strain and too much energy on you. You don't have... Maybe you do, but if you're willing to put so much time and energy into something that needs to stay dead, like, that's going to shift the wholeness of your life. So never recommend doing that, but once they are put aside and put to rest, you're welcome to then later go back and kind of like reminisce and think, how did I learn? Reflect on it is a good word. But you don't need to be bringing that back into your life. You need to be moving forward and integrating the more positive elements into your life. That's what your energy can be doing. If you took half the energy of trying to resurrect the old and put it into like doing something new, you would be getting leaps and bounds ahead. Like, they're not even comparable to what they need to be doing. You've realized what needs to change. You're smart. Most of the time people know what needs to change. A lot of the times with people, the issue isn't, I just have no idea what needs to change. We know on some level, especially if you're really into kind of like the community of psychology, tarot, spirituality. You have a pretty good feeling of what you need to be doing. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of this reading. look forward to the change. You've implemented, or you are still in the process of implementing things. If you haven't quite gotten the opportunity to go forward and actually like invite these things into your life, spend some more time thinking about it, because honestly, even just that process of thinking about something and reflecting on how you're going to change it into your life. Sorry, my cat's here. She wants my attention, and she wants my plants. But yeah, just kind of even as you're thinking about it, I really do suggest doing some kind of physical thing, because I think that's I think that's where you'll get where you need to go with enacting the physical. Yes, you can think about it, and it is a good idea to think about it, and you will find change and shifting in there spiritually, but really try to enact some kind of physical change. All right, I'm going to get her off. She's going to eat a plant or get burnt on the candle. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this second video, and I will see you in the next time. I look forward to hearing what you guys thought of the reading and how you were able to enact some kind of small change in your life. Have a good one.